Welcome to Margin Business Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. In today's episode, we got Laura McCall. Laura is the co-founder and Amazon PPC expert at Sponsored Profit. Sponsored Profit helps six-figure brand owners to scale their Amazon business profitably and in less time. Welcome, Laura. Welcome to Margin Business Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. We want to find out a little bit more about yourself, a little bit more about your company, your background, and the whole way how you got there, and a little bit in between. So just let us know a little bit more about yourself, please.
Sure, and thanks for having me on, Omar. It's great to chat with you today. And my name's Laura McCall. I'm co-founder of Sponsored Profit. We're a UK-based Amazon advertising agency, and we specialize in scalable PPC management for growing Amazon sellers so they can make more sales, increase market share, and hopefully build a business that they can sell. I'm a former Amazon seller myself. So are my two business partners, Daryl Patterson and Tim Peakman. And we met several years ago now at an Amazon live event over in the States in Vegas. And, we could kind of hear each other's British accents, on top of, a sea of American accents. So we kind of naturally gravitated towards each other and became firm friends. And what we found was that sort of individually in our own businesses at that time, we each had strengths and weaknesses. So my kind of strength or superpower was writing high converting product listings. Daryl was an absolute whiz with PPC, and Tim was really strong on processes and SOPs. So we quickly started turning to one another to get help in our own Amazon businesses with the areas of the business we needed help with. And then it kind of grew from there really into the perfect business for us because, we started helping out seller friends, and then kind of word spread and people started coming to us saying, hey, I hear you can help me out with this and that. And so, we kind of pivoted from being sellers ourselves to then kind of moving into the services space within the Amazon industry.
Okay, that's a very nice overview already. And just to your background a little bit, where are you located at the moment? I mean, where is the base of Sponsored Profit?
So we're based in the UK. We're a little bit spread out geographically, but not too much. For the most part, West Midlands. I'm in Worcester. Daryl and our team are based in Telford in Shropshire, and then Tim is up in beautiful Lincolnshire. Okay,
that sounds really good. So you're based in the European Union, so have obviously a very good overview of the European Union. Tell us a bit about your background. What did you do? Are your studies in any way related what you're doing today? Is there, Amazon seller, how did you got into this? What was about the year when you got into this? That would be very interesting to know as well. Sorry to interrupt your video. I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate you having you here today, listening to this podcast right now, and that Margin Business can help you to scale your Amazon business from 30 to 50% through optimized and localized listings in the European Union. If you have any questions how that might work, just send me an email, omar@marginbusiness.com. Thank you again, and now enjoy your video. One more thing. If you like our content, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thank you and enjoy.
Omar, completely by accident, if truth be told. I've done lots of different things in lots of different places, and not by design, completely by accident. So, when I went to uni, I studied politics and international relations, if you can imagine, and mainly out of interest. I didn't sort of have a vocation. At one point, I kind of considered, I think it was journalism or town planning and architecture, like completely different vocations, but kind of didn't really land on one that I wanted to do. So I studied politics and international relations. Funnily enough, really to help me kind of come out of my shell. I was quite studious at school. I'm quite self-evasive, so kind of I kind of deflect, I think, people with kind of humor, but I was really quite shy. And so studying politics and international relations is really all about forming arguments and backing those arguments. It's not necessarily about what's right or what's wrong, but you have to kind of formulate a position and say, okay, this is what I think, and this is why I think that. So that really kind of helped me come out of my shell, and allowed me to then move to the bright lights of London. And my first career was in executive recruitment. So I basically worked with banks and financial institutions to find IT talent for them.
Kind of a headhunter, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
And I was very fortunate that career allowed me to travel. So I did that. I started out in London, but then I also did that in Hong Kong and Australia. And so and this is going back a little while. So I went through, Y2K and the original dot-com boom and bust, and then I kind of exited that career around 2008 with the global financial crisis, because again, working almost exclusively with banks and financial institutions, it was just it's very cyclical, and
it was terrible.
and so I was like, okay, I've been here before, and I think I'm ready to try something new. And so I went from doing executive recruitment in Sydney in Australia, a complete sea change. I moved to the US, and I studied horticulture at UCLA. I'd always had an interest in landscape design, and so I spent a year at UCLA, and then I spent several more years in LA working in landscape design. So completely different.
That's amazing. Landscape design, and you have all these different things in your background. I mean, it's obviously, this is experience, this is landscape design. Did you work for the US government, or is it like was it more private?
Oh no, it was all private individuals, some of them quite wealthy, some of them famous. When you live and work in Los Angeles, there's only 7 degrees of separation between the real world and the celebrity world, but that's another conversation for another time. But yeah, I mean, what I sort of found as I kind of look back at what I've done, and I guess trying to make sense of it and connect the dots, kind of occurred to me that I'm a builder of sorts. So when I was working in executive recruitment, I help companies build teams. Then I kind of moved out of the office environment into the exterior environment, and I helped build beautiful gardens and outdoor places and spaces, and then it was when I returned to the UK after LA, I didn't really fancy working outside. The weather in the UK can't really top California, so I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this, and at that time, it was very timely. A friend of mine, I'd been seeing on Facebook, she was doing something with Amazon, and that kind of story. We've all got one of those stories, I think. And she introduced me to the opportunity of selling on Amazon, and so I decided to build a gardening products brand, because I thought, okay, well, I can sort of take my experience from what I've been doing, and so so then I built a brand and launched 3 products in the UK, US, and Germany, and then that's sort of how I went to the live events and conferences, met Tim and Daryl, and then transitioned from building a brand to now essentially helping other sellers build a brand through Amazon advertising. So it's this kind of building theme has kind of followed me around. So that's a kind of a short snippet of my background and where I am today.
I mean, you see yourself, there's these different points, and when you go them backwards, there is nothing illogic on it. There is really like a logic build up a link, a chain, which is going up to the end. From what I've seen already in the beginning is the copywriting, because journalism, obviously, politics, you know how to express yourself. If it's right or wrong, that's another question, but you know how to express yourself, you know how to persuade, and you know how to write a copy, journalism, storytelling. All of this is an amazing background, obviously, already to write some powerful listings, which is obviously needed, because nowadays, I think everyone understood that you cannot just write your own listings if you have no clue about anything, no matter what the language. But this is definitely already a very good intro, and the background is just a playbook. I think it's I would say a playbook, like really, like this is everything we got, I think really interesting. And then that's why I tell as well all the clients or everyone who is asking me and consulting, what should I do? How can I do that? Or, it's very easy, just go back, go backwards, check a little bit out. What are your passions? What have you been doing? What do you like to do? And for you, it's just, it's funny. It's gardening. Okay. Gardening, it's fine. You build, obviously, in your recruitment, you're building brands. You're building teams outside. You're building the garden. You have the overview. You build something, and afterwards came the Amazon, and you even took the gardening, because gardening, like home, sports, it's one of the biggest. I would even call it still niches in Amazon, because not everyone is buying Gardena or gardening stuff in general,
Yeah.
So this is definitely a very, very great idea. And have you already wrote like an overview about yourself, what you just told me like this? Because it just makes a lot of sense. And if you add this as well to your website or implement it into calls with clients, it's just super persuading, and it's amazing.
You're very kind, and and the answer to that is no. I mean, I kind of obviously had an idea of what we'd be talking about today, so I kind of gave it some thought. And interestingly enough, I did I read a book on personal branding, actually, going back, I think, to the start of this year, and that's kind of what really sort of planted that seed. But
story building, Donald Miller. I'm reading it at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, so I've read that as well. I've read several of his books, actually. He has a new book coming out in January, Hero on a Mission, which is fantastic. But yeah, I mean, that storytelling, and it's it's hugely valuable. But it's what's interesting. I mean, with Donald Miller, he talks about it's never about you. It's about the hero. The hero is the customer. You're not the hero. You're the But it's funny, because when it comes to these types of opportunities or situations where you're talking about yourself, I actually feel quite uncomfortable, and I don't kind of share that. I don't share that with people. But it's interesting that when, in the limited times that I've done that, which has been more recently, I get that similar feedback. Because I guess it's that authenticity, right? I mean, at the end of the day, definitely. There's people behind all our businesses, and certainly going back to when I worked in recruitment, which is a sales environment. At the end of the day, people buy people, so it's still that human connection, regardless of what your service is or how well you provide that service. It's that personal connection you make to go, can I work with this person? Do I trust this person? Am I getting a feeling that I'm going to be in good hands? So it's interesting that you say that. Maybe it's something I should think about, because I think there's probably not enough of that more human side to our businesses, particularly in Amazon advertising. It's a very metric driven business. Like for you, obviously you're in a more creative space, which at times I have to say I miss, whereas for us it's everything's measured, everything's quite technical, And to be perfectly fair with you, there's a lot of agencies out there. There's a lot of great agencies out there, but probably 90% of them, we probably all sound the same, or if not very, very similar. And ultimately, it's what kind of differentiates one agency from another will be, yes, there'll be some things around strategy and process and the actual account management, but ultimately it's the people who are going to be working with you, the people who are going to be taking care of your campaigns, who are going to be spending your ad dollars. That's really where the trust comes in, certainly in our space, because it's like, people see their ad budget being spent on a daily basis, and they're essentially trusting strangers to do that. And so building that bond is even more important. So you've definitely given me some food for thought, and maybe that's something I need to revisit now and make our business, I guess, a little bit more human, to kind of connect with people on more level, because that's certainly what I want to do, and that's certainly more of my focus in our business anyway, because it's about reaching as many sellers as we can help, in a way that they feel confident and comfortable working with us.
Definitely, it's all about storytelling. This is exactly what if you even present the story at the same way you did it. I think it just comes through perfect, because I have been speaking with one of the last week. We had an aggregator podcast. We do this on a weekly basis with Hi Mac, the host, and the CEO of Eva Guru. We have been speaking with. It was a very good conversation about brands as well, and the tendencies, how it's going to go forward at the moment. So what people want, brands, maybe, I'm not sure about services, but in brands in general, but I think as well, if you have an overview, people want to see who is behind the brand, who is the personality behind the brand. I think no matter what brand, if it's a service provider or if it's but even more about articles, when you like yours, your gardening stuff, for example, what you have been selling, if they see behind, who's the person behind, landscape artist, everything is connected, everything is perfect, and the product, just to give you just an example, has been designed in the UK and maybe produced within the European Union. Wow, that's so many things together that everyone will just buy your product or buy your services. I think it's the human touch, like you said, it's very important now, because we're living in an environment now. Everyone is at home. Most of the people are at home. I don't know how it is in the UK or elsewhere, but from the people I've been speaking with, it's a really very isolated, and people, they cannot meet anymore so much. I mean, they still meet, or the human touch is missing. So I think we go really into a tendency where we need to pay attention, not to talk too much about ourselves, but still try to bring ourselves into the conversation. And I think this, because I read this book, and I know, obviously, you don't speak only about yourself, because it's not the customer is not interested in that. But I think we should shift a little bit, because now this book has been written pre-COVID. So
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Putting everything into consideration, I think it's very important to go with time and see how we can improve and how we can help the customer as well to have confidence into talking with a person who is in Zoom, for example, all the time. Yeah, this is definitely something I was thinking about, and which I see is really changing. Just another question for sponsored profit. There are a few PPC agencies out there. There are large ones. There are smaller ones. There is very conventional ones. There is all types of PPC companies. What do you think? Where do your company is different from the others out there?
Yeah, look, it's a good question, and I think different is probably more accurate than unique, because I think that's something as business owners we all start off
Unique
with.
is hard.
Like, what makes us unique? And it's like, cool, it's a tall order, but you know, there are definitely a few things that added up certainly make us different. So I think number one, I think the fact that we're based in the UK, I think that does make a difference, certainly to UK and EU based sellers. It's not make or break, but I think, you know, we are, you know, and certainly we are, you know, very grateful for this opportunity that selling on Amazon has provided for all of us. But it's a very US centric business, and that's great, and that's fine, and we work with that. But sometimes it is nice, you know, to have some clients sort of based in some friendlier time zones, if anything, yes, and culturally on the same page. So I think that's that can be a benefit. All we do is Amazon PPC. So we don't, you know, at number one, we're not full service. So we don't, you know, do product listings and customer service and all of that. We just do Amazon PPC. And also, you know, we don't do Facebook ads or Google ads or anything like that. So we're not a, you know, a digital marketing agency, and we're not a full service Amazon advertising agency. So what that means, I mean, you could argue it has pros and cons, but, you know, we kind of, you know, do Amazon PPC day in, day out. And we actually, funnily enough, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, when we started Sponsor Profit, for about the first year, I was still doing product listings. But as the conversion piece on Amazon started to grow and become more sophisticated with EBC and A+ content, with video, with storefronts, we kind of got to that point where we were like, we'll have to start doing more or do less, meaning we just focus on one thing. So we opted on the focusing on one thing, which is Amazon advertising. And it was a great decision because, you know, the platform is changing. There's new ways of targeting, there's new ad formats, so it keeps us on our toes. But my point is that's all we do, and we're all accredited on the team. So that's something else, I think. Another thing is we've built our own tech. So you could argue that we're control freaks in a good way, coming from our seller backgrounds, and in particular Daryl's. You know, he was like, I've used every tool under the sun. They've all got their pros, they've all got their cons. Yes. He was like, I think it would just be easy if we just built our own. And so Tim and I are like, that sounds hard, but okay. And so that's what we've done. And so that gives us a lot of flexibility, but it also gives us greater control, particularly again when it comes to targeting and it comes to budgets and ad spend. But another sort of part of that is that we are semi-automated. So we don't let software do all the work. So we don't just kind of plug and play and then sort of set and forget those campaigns. And then every month, we better put some reporting together and, you know, show the client what we've done. So, you know, obviously tech is great for time efficiencies, for automating those sort of very time-intensive, repetitive tasks, but we kind of call ourselves hands-on. So we will be going into the accounts just to kind of keep an eye on things to make sure everything is doing what it should be doing. So, and I think that's really important because I think probably the biggest objection, you know, we get at PPC agencies in general, you know, is that trust/control. You know, it's, you know, handing over, for a seller to hand over their PPC. Oftentimes it's the last thing that they hand over because they're comfortable with all the other parts of their business. And that's the last part where they're like, you know, just because again, it's I mean, you'll know the value of a high converting listing, how important that is, and we'll probably talk about this with PPC because the two are, you know, are very connected. But sellers don't necessarily see the impact of a poor converting product listing as clearly as they will see a poor performing ad campaign, because they'll see their ad dollars getting spent, and obviously we need to allow for the sales attribution window and for those sales to come in. But you know, what's the first thing that sellers check when they, you know, log into a Seller Central account? You know, it will be sales and ad spend. Right, they're the two things they go to straight away.
ACOS.
Yeah. And so we understand that, you know, we totally get that, and that's why it's important to build trust, to have a track record, to, you know, showcase our case studies, and to, you know, form meaningful strategic partnerships, because that is, we absolutely understand that that's a big, it's a big responsibility. You know, they're kind of giving you the keys to the kingdom, as it were. So for us, that semi-automated kind of hands-on approach, I think is important, because, you know, you have to, you know, like we were talking about earlier, it's that human touch, but, you know, you have to take the time to get to understand the brand, to get to understand its products, its customers, its sales cycles, if it's seasonal. You know, you need to have an idea of what else is going on in the category, right? If sales have dropped, is it just their sales, or is it everybody's sales? And software can't do that. So it's that kind of slightly wider focus that you have when you have tech and human intelligence, just provides you with a little bit more of that kind of holistic view and that kind of flexibility, but also control. So I think those are really the three key things for us that together we think makes us a different offer in the market.
Okay, so you solely concentrating on PPC, first of all. So there is no other things like anything, you know, outside traffic, or only PPC. That is one thing I think is super important already. And the customers you have, are they more enterprise, or are they more individual, large or small sellers? What is your entry point that somebody can get to you and say, hey, can you please have a look at my PPC account? I want to increase, or I want to see what's wrong. All right.
Yeah. No, very, very good question. So broadly speaking, the sellers and brands that we work with are generating, you know, somewhere between $25,000 to $50,000 per month, up to around $250,000 per month. Now, obviously, at this time of recording, we're in December. It's just before the holiday, so you know, sales are up across the board. But that's sort of the kind of general spread. And you know, conversely, if we talk about sort of ad spend, you know, if you're generating that type of revenue, you're spending probably at least, or you should be spending at least $5,000 per month on ads. Now, we often will have sellers come to us and say, hey, look, we're brand new. We want to work with, you know, the best providers. You know, we don't have an established catalog of products, so we're not yet kind of meeting those, you know, revenue or spend thresholds, but, you know, will you work with us? We've got the budget. This is our plan. This is what we're hoping to do. Sure, we'll have a conversation. So there's, you know, there's no hard and fast rules. That's just kind of the general. Those are kind of the general markers for us. We found as we've been in this space over time.
Obviously, you have to look at plenty different aspects of the product, or it's like you said, if it's seasonal or anything, because you know what I've seen in Amazon is that customers like to think sometimes, not that we're magicians, because they know actually that that it's hard to scale, and they know within them that not one company can turn everything around. That's just not possible, you know. There is enough companies out there which do everything, which I think it's not the best thing to do, because you have to be special, obviously, if they are really big, and then it's again the human touch is again missing. So I think nowadays, like before, maybe you could have gone away with the listing, and you have PPC, you know, a little bit of keywords, and you know that should have been fine. But right now, your service, our service, then there need to be somebody outside who brings the traffic in, which is even better, you know, because sometimes I'm sure people come to you and say, okay, I invest in PPC and that's it, okay, right? So yeah. My ACO is gonna go down. I'm gonna have lots of sales, and that's it.
Yeah. Oh, look, absolutely. I mean, so I think sometimes we are expected to be magicians, or you know, I don't know how you found it, but for us, oftentimes there's been that sense that PPC is the silver bullet. It's, you know, if I just get more eyeballs on my products, I'll make more sales, my business will be fixed. And you know, unfortunately, it's just not that simple. And so while, you know, we are proponents of being specialists in what we do, what we've done, similar to yourself, and that's how we've, you know, gotten to know each other, is you know, we like to you know, partner with other specialists so that you know, we can, you know, refer our clients to, you know, to trusted experts, because I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't know if it's 9 times out of 10, but certainly several times out of 10 initially when we look at PPC campaigns for new clients, the problem won't be PPC, it will be the product listing and the offer. So whether it's a poor quality product listing, whether that's images or the copy, whether it's, you know, poor keyword selection, or, you know, massive you know, thing that you would think that sellers would understand is they don't check to see if they're indexed for their keywords. And it's, I mean, that's the first thing you do. And you know, and this is all really low hanging fruit, but then comes the product listing, the keyword selection, and then the offer itself. How does it stack up against the competition? You know, we're fortunate in that we're in a data-driven business, because we kind of just go off the data. So when we give advice, it's objective, it's not subjective, because again, as former sellers ourselves, you know, your products, if you treat your products like your children, it's going to be difficult for you to grow a business, right? I know you source them and they're great and you think they're great, but ultimately, you know, if you're twice as expensive as the competition, and you know you have a 3.5 star rating, they have a 5-star rating, you know, PPC is not going to fix that. So that's what I mean by the offer as well. And so yeah, it's more important than ever, I think, that the whole offer and product listing piece and PPC, that they are just intertwined more than ever, I think, now, and that's, your listing and offer is the first place you should start.
I'm asking this because there's plenty of people who, for example, say, okay, now I put in 5,000, okay, so I will make sales, correct? So this is like a lot of questions I get, or can I need to sell more, I will increase my PPC budget, okay? No, it's not that easy, you know. It's you know, even, okay, let's say there is as well it's gonna hit the ceiling at some point. Your product, for example, is a category where it cannot get higher anymore. Everything is perfect. Your pictures are perfect. Everything is perfect. You have outside traffic. You're making 100,000 per month, and you want to push more. Even if you increase your PPC budget, when you look at the competition, for example, at some point there is no more high. I mean, it will continue, but it's not like it's growing crazy again. No, then I would really give the advice to change the marketplace, for example, you know, to go into either other marketplaces or bigger marketplaces. This is what I'm trying to tell customers if they want to increase PPC, for example? You know?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, I think that's right, and I think it just, you know, obviously, particularly this year, it's been so challenging. That obviously brings some additional inventory,
Yes.
you know, challenges.
Yeah.
But you know, and I think we're going to be living with those for some time. However, you know, I would invite you to consider, and it's actually interesting how many sellers and brands think that they've maxed out their sales, because they seemingly think they've maxed out their PPC sales. So they're like, well, we've upped our budgets, we're running, you know, these campaigns, these formats, you know, we're wringing that towel dry, there's nothing left. Actually, you'd often be surprised that, you know, obviously it's based on demand for your product. So if you're selling a super niche product, you will hit a ceiling, and you'll hit that ceiling obviously sooner than in other categories. But you know, for example, first off, many sellers don't fully leverage sponsored products, and I think sponsored products is viewed a little bit like LinkedIn. It's like, it's been around a long time, but it's kind of a bit dull, and it's, you know, it's the kind of the, you know, the granddaddy, you know, of the ad formats. It still drives 70% of paid sales, and there's so many targeting options available, and we love to use single keyword campaigns in sponsored products to get more sales. It's often underutilized, but even if you kind of go, okay, I've pretty much maxed out sponsored products, sponsored brands, then if you're brand registered, I mean, you can increase sales by 30% with an optimized strategy, with a storefront. You know, as I said, you have to be brand registered, you know, and then there's other formats. But, you know, sometimes you would be surprised. I mean, I mentioned the single keyword campaigns. Again, we can see an uplift 20 to 30% in sales, again, depending on the quality of those keywords. But we have one client at the moment, 10% of their PPC sales is being made from a single keyword campaign.
Wow.
Because it's in demand, but it's converting well. I'm not talking about you know, vitamin C serum and it's just like it's got the search volume but not the sales. This has got the search volume and the sales. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you would be surprised. Sometimes, you know, we have a saying, just because you're doing good doesn't mean you can't be doing great. But the key is, and I'll add this caveat, because, you know, I get people will say, well, you're a PPC agency, of course you're going to say, no, spend more on PPC. But it's all about getting a return on those ad dollars. It's not about spending
definitely
more.
Definitely.
It's about getting a return on that investment, and that's the tricky part. And it's a long-term play as well. And I think that's something but I mean, I don't know how you find it, Omar, with clients. There sometimes needs to be that kind of education piece, and that readjustment of expectations, because again, I think that it's easy to come into this space and just think, I just have to find a product, just have to get it into Amazon, I just have to throw up a listing, and it's, you know, we know it's not quite that easy. It used to be, but it's not anymore. But it's having that long-term sort of vision, and that's really critical for PPC, because yes, you can have an immediate impact by, okay, we see, you know, some ad waste here, you know, you've got some great performing keywords here, let's split them out and put them in their own campaigns. So you can have an immediate impact, but it's a long-term strategy, you know. And when I say that, it's, you know, when we first start working with brands and sellers, we say, you know, where do you want to be in a year? What do you want the business to look like in a year? Which in other industries is still probably considered short term, but in Amazon, it's relatively long term. And then we kind of reverse engineer a PP strategy for that. But it's understanding that, yeah, we're not going to double your business overnight. And we have to kind of be quite upfront about that, because again, people, you know, if they feel they're going to get immediate results and they don't, they're disappointed, they're unhappy, and we don't want that, right? We're in a client services business. We want happy clients. So yeah, it's always a balancing act of what realistically can we achieve, and in what time frame, and ensuring that the client is comfortable and confident with that.
Definitely, because it's funny that you say that for the keywords, for example, because there is, for example, companies, mostly it's foreign sellers, which come to the European marketplaces with a big budget. They come with, with really good products, so they have a real good advantage in the market. And maybe they make $1 million, per month, or maybe they make 800,000 per month, and they're happy that, yay, we done it, But as you said, they didn't hit the ceiling, because some of these products can go 10x easy more, But
yeah.
They at the same time, you need to make them understand that in order to do more, you need to do something better. You need to optimize either your PPC campaign, optimize your listing, optimize your photos,
always.
In order to get better. And there is so much space for these type of sellers. And I'm quite sure if every seller on Amazon now understands this, we can make this economy, this Amazon economy, together with the sellers, with all the agencies. We can make it even. I don't even know if it's measurable in X or in 100X or in 1000X, but it can be so big, and it will be big anyway. But if people begin to understand that it's important to invest in your business, this is not just a hobby. This is you have been a seller yourself. I have seen sellers come from 0 to 50 million. It's really a 10-hour job or 8-hour job. It's not just like a set it and forget it in any of the campaigns or in the listings. So in an overall view, it's like you have to close the gaps, look at the overall picture, and really understand what you're doing. This is from my experience what I've seen. And if everyone will follow this, I talk about as well about the big corporation, corporations, the employees in there, which are running these type, which are responsible for these type of PPC or this type of marketing budgets. They need to look at their budget and maybe think to invest somewhere else, for example, in listing optimization, for example, in PPC,
absolutely,
then doing it themselves,
Yeah, look, I mean, if you want to make serious money, you need to run a serious business.
Exactly.
And all these things from the listing optimization, PPC, they're ongoing. They can always be tweaked. We're always testing. Some stuff will work, other stuff won't. But if we don't test, we won't know. And so with that, I mean, we kind of limit the budget available for testing, because we want 80%. We're big fans of the 80-20 rule, so we want 80% of the budget going on stuff that's already working. But we always want to be testing, because weirdly enough, shoppers are always using new search terms to find products. I mean, that's why we have a hard job with some of our clients. We have to continually kind of farm, as it were, keywords and the campaigns, because you can quickly get up to 1,000 keywords in a campaign, which is not what we want. It's too much. The budget gets spread too thin. But all of a sudden, you'll look at the search term reports and other data, and you'll be like, "Oh, we're making sales on this search term. I've never heard of it before." It's the products that have been around longer, that the new keywords that we discover. There might be fewer of them, but they still present themselves. It's amazing. You think, God, there must be a finite number of ways to find any given product. But so that in itself is an awesome opportunity. But it's just that always striving. Can we do better? Can we get more sales? Can we get those ad dollars to work harder? Same with listing. Can we get this to convert better? Because if you can, why wouldn't you? You've done all the hard work already. Now you just want to make it better.
Yeah, it's just an everyday improvement, like in life. Everything is the same, you know. Amazon, what maybe was like a golden, you know, a golden egg, which you know, which had plenty of different things and plenty of money coming out. But right now, in order to get money out, you have to put money in. So you need to create a real business around it and make sure you understand what you're doing, working with partners. Talking with other people, educate yourself, and your business definitely will thrive. One question: where can any interested, maybe potential clients contact you to have a talk with you, or directly maybe email you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're easy to find. Our website, so it's www.sponsoredprofit.com. And hopefully there'll be, it's a bit of a mouthful. Or email me, laura@sponsoredprofit.com.
Okay.
And you can find me on LinkedIn too. So definitely seek me out. If you need help or want to chat, I'll be happy to have a conversation.
That's really amazing. I'm sure there will be a few people who really want to know more, contacting you, and hopefully you can make them understand that it's really all about investing, and then take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
One last question: what is your message to the world?
Message to the world. Oh, it's a big question, isn't it? You know, I think find your voice. Find your voice, and don't be afraid to be you. I think, you know. Okay.
I think it's good. Perfect. Very good. That's
we're not robots, right?
No, we're not robots. Definitely. I quote you on that one. I will bring something out, and it's posted if you're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Yeah, we came to the end. I think we had a very nice conversation, very informative from your end about PPC. Hope it was not too technical. I try not to keep it too technical, as for the reasons
it wasn't.
I have already explained last time. Because we move on, maybe these videos will be seen in about 10 years time, maybe in 100 years time. Sure. And you know, it's then it's always good to have an overview of what is doing, but not going too deep into the technicals of this. Yeah, thank you so much, Laura.
Right, thank you.
I wish you best of luck with your agency, and thanks.
And likewise.
Okay, speak later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.